Welcome back to the Reality Guys. I'm your host, Billy Blinks, joined by special guest today, Vanderpump Rules fame and head now of at Reality Network, Peter Madrigal.
Hello, how are you doing, Bill?
Peter, I appreciate it, brother. I always love these interviews, but I can surely say I've been watching you for over a decade on TV. I my co-host
Uh,
Brian's gonna be jealous. I got him to binge Vanderpump before last season, so he was a late adopter. I was a beginning adopter of Vanderpump, and
you've
always
been
thought you were one
around
of the.
since the inception.
Oh yeah, way back, man. And always thought you were one of the more relatable people on the show because you had to have a regular job and you were working in the restaurant and were the only one that was believably working in the restaurant after a few seasons. So really appreciate that. We'll touch a little bit on Vanderpump, but I would
That
kind of
comes with all the pictures that I take with customers that come in.
people do see you, people tag you, people do see you. I would love to come out too. I actually never been to Sir, so
Really?
I will make that. I have a plan to come out in the spring out in the LA, so I'll
Very
definitely
cool.
messaging you out. But want to start with I saw the post. I saw the TikTok, the announcement for the reality network, saw your face, and then was like, oh my God, this is great. This is cool. I kind of been wondering, obviously, outside of the restaurant stuff, what you kind of have going on. So I want to give you the floor to start. What is the reality network? Why did you want to start it? And kind of just give us the inception here.
So the Reality Network basically is your one-stop shop for all reality television. That's where I want to get it to. We have about 12 TV shows on the channel right now.
Okay.
I have two talk shows. I have a bunch of drama shows. I have a travel show. I have a travel show that it's a 180-degree opposite of Kitchen Nightmares. So that's yeah, it's true. Whereas Kitchen Nightmares, Gordon goes to he goes to different restaurants that are hole in the wall places and he tries to fix them. Well, Al Whiting, who was in a bunch of different movies, he was in The Water Boy. He was the one that gets poked in the eye. So what he does is he goes tries hole in the wall places that are good that don't need help. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
just talks about food. And I always happen, what's funny is when I'm reviewing the show, I always happen to be running while or working out while I'm reviewing the show. So I'm extremely hungry at that point in time. So once I start reviewing the show before I put it on the network, I mean, I'm just like, oh my God, why am I doing this to myself right now? So the inspiration behind Reality Network was the fact that I mean, there was a couple of reasons behind it. Number one, I was like, well, you get to 40, and at 40, I accomplished a lot of my dreams and aspirations. I mean, like one of my aspirations was to go to USC. One of them was to be on television. One of them, and it's funny when you get to that point, you accomplish all of your goals at 40, and you're like, wait, hold on, the fuck.
Yeah.
So so that coupled with the strikes going on because I wasn't on Bravo because I wasn't on Vanderpump Rules season 11 because they decided not to pay me. That's an old story. But um, and then I got a movie, and then the SAG strike happened. I was all like, you know what? I got to figure out how to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And so one drunken night, I went out with some friends. This was while I was still drinking back in July of 2023. And I can pin down the date too, the exact date of when it happened. Um, One of my buddies, Alex, who's now my business partner, he was all like, "Why don't we just start our own network?" And it just blossomed into this. And now, I've got, like I said, by the end of the year, I want to have 14 different television shows
Okay.
on the network and a bunch of different categories. And I want to hit the ground running come 2025 because I'm
That's
in a very different place. I'm in a very different place in 2023. Because in 2023, you're like, okay, how do we do this? How do we start this thing? You go through the privacy policy, the terms of service, like, okay, what are we going to populate this space with? And then as you progress, you're like, okay, well, we got this show, and then okay, we're able to get that show, and oh, we have this one. Oh, I made a TikTok, and all of a sudden I get this other one,
yeah.
and is they're completed shows, and you're like, whoa, okay, it's not easy. It's very difficult, especially when you're first starting off. But then once you get into that little niche, that little crevice, that just is there's a little point, and you cross through it, boom, it just everything becomes so much more clear. And like I said, right now, last year at this time, we did not have one TV show. Now
Mhm.
we have 12.
It's great. So, what is something that you wish you would have known before you started this that you could say to Peter back in 2023 to give him a heads up on?
Ooh, that's a good question. As far as this venture goes, actually nothing. Nothing. Everything that I've accomplished, I kind of like, and a lot of it has to do with my business partner too. He really, because he knows the space very well. He's a
Yeah.
former TV executive. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
He was a former marketing executive, television executive. He's been at the highest of the high
Mhm.
with a lot of different television companies. So I'm in really good company with this guy. So he's kind of guided the way. So as far as what I wish I would have done, no, actually, I wish we'd gotten started sooner.
It's a good one. It's a
I
good
would
one.
have pushed it harder, but I mean, I pushed as hard as we could go, you know? So yeah, there's nothing really I could say other than like maybe get started a little sooner. But
I
the
think that was,
number one thing was the back end part of it. That was the hardest. That and then getting the TV shows. But one of the main things was the back end part of of the technological stuff, the tech stuff, behind the scenes stuff.
yeah.
That was the hardest part. Finding the right company to get this done with, and finding the right institution to put out the channel, all that
Mhm.
stuff, the bytes, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so that was one of the hardest parts. So we both tackled that, and we both tackled finding the shows. So there's not really much I could say that I would have done differently. There's other stuff in my life that I would have done differently if I could go back in time, but not that.
Or you could get to that type of stuff. So now you're saying 12 shows in a year. That's awesome. Do
Yeah,
you?
so we got Serving with Purpose. We got the Sarah Fraser show. We have the show called The Verge,
Okay.
which is it's these transplants that come to Los Angeles and they're in underground hip hop,
Oh,
right? So on the verge of success. We have the show called Hair Cult, which is like Vanderpump Rules. I mean, not as dramatic, but dramatic,
okay.
and it happens in a hair salon in Austin, Texas. We have um, we have a show called Catching Cheaters. We also have a show called the World's Most Unique Adventures, This House. So yeah, we have a lot of different stuff on there.
Yeah, it sounds like a great variety. Now, when you're looking for a show to add to your network, kind of what are some of the common through lines or some of the major things that you're looking for that's like, hey, that's our vibe?
So number one is reality.
Yeah.
It's got to be reality,
Yeah.
real life, real drama, real TV, only on the reality network. So there has to be reality. That's number one. Whether it's real talk, real comedy. We got some more comedy shows we're going to be putting up. Um, but it has to be a reality centered. That's the number one thing. And then number two, it could be literally a show about pretty much about anything,
Mhm.
you know, because I'm not, if it's a like for instance, Eat Up with Al is the TV show that I said is 180 degrees opposite of Kitchen Nightmares. So Eat Up with Al, um, it's a show where he goes around eating at different spots across the United States, and it's very different from The Verge, which is about like six people that they're trying to make it in the hip hop industry. So yeah, it's a very big variety of stuff.
To making the band without the problematic parties.
Yep, there you go.
There you go. Now look, everyone obviously you came to fame. It came into everyone's hearts and televisions and living rooms through Vanderpump Rules, right?
Of course.
What would you say, now that you maybe, I feel, do you feel that you are officially fully done with them? Do you feel like there's an
Oh, of course
opportunity?
not.
Okay,
I can
good.
still run a I can still run a network while I'm on Vanderpump Rules. Ah,
We missed you, man. I tell you, we did the
I,
reviews
I
last
can
year.
I can tell a lot of people did miss me, and I had a lot to say that I just wasn't given the opportunity to say it. But I had a lot to say.
Do you believe that the show has fundamentally changed from what it was in the beginning? And if so, when do you think that kind of shift happened?
I don't think like do you think that it changed? I don't think it changed because I was always dealing with these rapscallions the entire time. You know what I mean? I had to deal with people complaining. Like for instance, one thing I remember it was the pettiest thing, but it was on television. Laura Lee. This is all the way back in season one. He had
Yep.
Laura Lee taking Stassi's section 1 through 6 in the main room, and Stassi being all pissed off about that, and then coming to me and telling me like, "How dare she take my section?" I was like, "Could you just get to work? She just go serve some tables, please." I was all, and I don't remember what the main thing for that night was, but I was already like not frazzled, but just like, hey, I'm dealing with other shit. You know what I mean? So in a sense, like I don't know how it may have changed for you, but for me, it always was, drama, 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 drama.
I think I can say I don't think that the people changed too much. I think obviously the exposure changed, right? It became bigger and bigger, and then there was the scandal of it all where people got reintroduced to the show. I kind of wanted to know. I think the biggest difference from my perspective is that I feel like whether it's Lisa or whether producers ever, it's almost that they've had to like bury their head in the sand a little bit more because I haven't seen a lot of growth in a lot of them, right? And some of it started to be like, are you really trying to get me to believe that they're coming around here and hanging, right?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I like, here's the thing. I think that there's been a lot of growth. Like, someone that I still hang out with is Sheena. I saw Sheena the other day. We were at her house, this last Friday, actually. Yeah, last Friday. Wow, time flies. She's very different from, the girl I used to hang out with. Because she and I, she was like my wingman. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We go clubbing together sometimes. I remember going out we got off a ship, and then I was all like, "Hey, I want to meet want to come with me?" I don't like this girl is invited me to this club. She's like, "Yeah, let's go." So it was in Santa Monica. Um, and so it's very different now that she has a kid, and it's a different dynamic, and it's something I noticed, and something that my brother Jude noticed as well. He just recently wrote published actually I have it right here, published a children's book.
Oh, that's sick.
Boom. And so we were giving one to Sheena's daughter, Summer.
Summer.
And yeah, it was like, that's something that my brother and I discussed on the way home. We're like, wow, yeah, things change. It's crazy how things change.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, technically,
so I mean, me personally, I've changed. Like, when I first started at Sir, I was a busser. And then I moved up to server. I already knew how to bartend. I've been bartending for, damn, near 2 decades now. Since 2006 or seven. I can't remember exactly when, but it's been a long, long time. That's when I first figured out, all the way back in '06, I think, is when I first started. And that's when I first learned how to make a mojito. So bartending school, there you go.
yeah.
So downtown not downtown, but downtown Koreatown. So it had been on Wilshire. So that's where I first started, and then after that, I knew how to bartend. I tried to get a job at USC as
Okay.
one of the bartenders on the local campus, and they denied me. And it's like, dude, you guys really messed up there. Because I graduated at USC, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And earlier that year, I already like, I was like, I needed a job, so I ended up like, because I wanted to bartend, but because I've already bartended before, and they were all like, yeah, I did the interview, and then they were like, no, no, we're not going to hire you. It's like, now you should. In retrospect, you probably should have, because that would have been a nice claim to fame, apart from the USC thing.
Besides the
So,
alumni.
oh yeah, Peter Madrigal bartended here as well from Vanderpump Rules. Well, he went to school here at USC. Boom, But
I
hey,
agree.
I wasn't in charge at the time. I would be now. But that comes with age. So my point is that back when I first started, I was a busser, and that's the way everyone kind of viewed me when I became management, when I became the Matt Peterson manager. And as everyone has left and there's been different generations, now the generation today, they don't see me as a busser. They only see me as Peterson manager who comes in on his cloud nine and takes pictures with everyone and
I
then
mean,
tells
that's how
everyone
we
what
know
to do.
you. That's how you're
You know?
introduced to our hearts, right? That's how we know you.
Yeah.
For Peter
But
Madrigal
see,
manager.
it's different for the OG cast. It's different in comparison to the servers that we have now.
Can you describe what it was like when you first met Lisa Vanderpump, and what is your relationship like now?
Oh, our relationship's awesome. Our relationship is amazing. But when I first met her, I didn't know how to. I was very green. I was fresh. I was just graduated college. I was 25.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, and I was busser. And Guillermo introduced me to Lisa and Ken, and they kind of like brushed over me. And I'll never forget that. They were sitting at P7 in the restaurant, and they had just become part owners of the restaurant 2 years prior. So that would have been '06.
Okay.
This was '08. And they were meeting. I mean, it's like they're just, I mean, come on, they're just meeting a new busser. I mean, I would have probably had the same reaction if I was them. You're meeting this 20-something-year-old busser, that's just fresh out of college. Okay, cool, awesome. Do your job, kid. You know what I mean? Because that would have been me too. Because I understand, like I would have done the exact same thing in their
Need you
shoes.
around for a couple of years
Absolutely.
first before we invest in
Yeah,
you.
exactly. It's like, oh, it's a new busser. Okay, cool. Let's see how long he lasts. 2 days. Let's see if he. Now here I am, like 20 years, almost. Fuck.
It's okay. You can say whatever you want on this.
2008 will be 20 years, but I mean, like, here's the beauty of it. I reached the pinnacle. I've been on the show. I've been on TV for the majority of time that I was there. This is I'm doing stuff that you know I wanted to do, and I aimed at doing it. So it's kind of brings me a sense of pride and joy. And now, I mean, I own my own network. Like it's kind of interesting where my journey goes, but yeah, I'm
Did
still
you ever
there, still kicking
consider
it.
did you ever consider, like, not the joke, but like, doing something like a Tom Tom or a Jax's, which is about to become half Jax's?
You know what? You know what? I considered it. And something I'll reveal right now. 4 years ago, right before March of 2020, because we all know what happened in March of 2020. I'd
Yep.
say about a week before that everything shut down. Um, I was meeting with Ken about opening something, partnering up with Ken and Lisa. I was already meeting with them. Yeah, we were
Man.
literally like, yeah, and Ken called me up a couple of times during the lockdown, there when everything was shut down about it. And the people that I brought in, the investment that I brought in, they backed down because of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it was going to happen. We were already drafting the paperwork,
Madrigals would be a cool
literally.
name.
Yeah, no, and I've pitched that around before, but now I'm just concentrated on, because here's the thing: you spread yourself too thin, and I've done that before. And if I spread myself too thin, I can't like I have a real estate license
Yeah.
here in the state of California. And I never used it. And I'm just like, because I got it like that. Boom. Awesome. What was that? There's a scene in a movie or a TV show. I can't remember which one it was. He's like, yeah, I got my real estate license for shits and gigs. Do you know what movie I'm talking about?
Oh, man, I'm thinking of it.
I
Uh,
just saw a clip and I was like, that's me. That's me.
Funny enough, I'll tell you the truth. I got mine as well, and I sold
Yep.
one house when I had it, so just a little bit past it, but not much.
Yep.
So I get you
Well,
for
here's
sure.
the thing. Like, I mean, like, I was supposed to do one in Florida as well, and I was studying for that earlier this year, and I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to concentrate on Reality Network, and that's it. But I mean, I still could finish it and take the test, and you know.
Step Brothers. It was in Step Brothers.
Oh, that's the one. Yes, Step Brothers.
It was in Step
Bingo.
Brothers. Just got it for shits and gigs.
I got my real estate license. Shit's gigs.
So obviously I mentioned a few of those other bars, right? The Tom Tom, the Jackson,
Mm.
those type of things. What is your take on those? As far as bar runners, the Schwartz and Sandys of it all, would you say any of them are actually good?
Okay, so I've never been to Jackson's.
That's a surprise. Kidding, kidding.
Surprise. Ooh, super, super surprising there. Um, I've only been to Schwartz and Sandy's once. I go to Tom Tom all the time. Now, my powers of observation have gotten me in a little bit of trouble lately. Little
Oh yeah,
trouble.
with the thinking that it was going to
But
change the.
I was doing the interview with Sarah Fraser. Shout out to Sarah Fraser. And she was all like, I can't remember the way the question was asked, but I was all like, I just saw that they covered up the Tom Tom sign with the pride flag, and then they put pump over the archway, and I
Yeah.
was like, I'm using my powers of observation. Then all of a sudden, it's like it reveals that it's turning into pump. It's like I don't have to really reveal much when you got the pump everywhere.
when they're
It's
covering
like
the tom
I
toms and all
remember
up.
one night I met up with some people that were fans of mine, and I was drinking, and I was all like, you know what, I'm gonna go get a slice of pizza, and they're all like, yeah, yeah, let's go. We went across the street to there's a pizzeria across the street from Tom Tom on the other side of Santa Monica. I'm talking to everybody, sending me some pictures. I'm about to go home because I'm exhausted. And it was a Saturday night, and I look across the street at Tom, and the Tom Tom sign is up. And that's where this whole thing started in my mind. I was all like, so they cover it up during Gay Pride, and then they turn off the lights. Makes you think.
Makes
I
you
don't know.
think.
But so my powers of observation were like created this entire viral situation that everyone was like, Peter Madrigal says this. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of observing everything. I'm seeing where the wind takes us.
I mean, to be fair too, what's been seen presented out on the show and in social media was that their venture wasn't going very well. And then again, like I said, there is the scandal of it all. And if and look, like not for nothing, but Lisa's running a business at the end of the day, right? And
Exactly.
these guys are, what were they, like 1% owners or something like that, like a very small percentage, right? Even to this day, right? They're still just kind of partners in name, right? Outside of their like check that they barely wanted to hand over, like they were spending $1 million.
Mm. I don't know. I think that I honestly think it was a bad business move on their part,
Mhm.
or on Tom's part, to do this, because I don't think that he thought that there was going to be any repercussions to his business if he did what he did.
That's shocking to me. There would be zero repercussions. I mean, you could say you look at it the other way. I
Well,
mean,
here's the thing: the way some people look at it is all press is good press. No, sometimes there can be bad press.
yeah, you think. I mean, like if you just think about the fact that objectively, I think Sir and that whole Vanderpump bar scene became more popular because of the show, right? So why wouldn't you think if
Yep.
you did a bunch of crappy things that people may get turned off by it? Hmm.
Just saying. I mean, like, yeah, if you didn't think that this would have any negative repercussions, I honestly don't know what to tell you. Like sometimes some press will be bad press, and they discovered it pretty quickly.
I don't. I we could talk about the heavy hitters or kind of the low hanging fruit like a Jax or like a Sandoval, but someone I always want to ask about and someone who knows more intimately is Schwartz. Schwartz to me is a conundrum, right? Schwartz, the first 4, 5, 6 seasons, he can't get the job, he can't barely keep it. It's the lovable loser type of thing. He's with Katie.
It's funny because like second season when that happened, was it second or third season? I picked up Lisa. We're going to see Jax, and he is like, we were just making fun of him in the car for not like being able to hold down a bartending. It's like, I'm just like, come on, I just can't do it,
What?
Bobby. I just can't do it. Oh, here's the
That's
thing.
awful.
What makes you think that Tom Schwartz is a conundrum?
Because what he does, when he presents himself as this Midwestern all shucks guy, I don't want conflict. However, he seems to always be right in the heart of it, but I don't think he gets the negativity that a lot of other people get. I mean, he's openly talked about how he cheated on Katie a few times and this type of thing, but it always tends to be, oh, it's just Schwartz, just kind of
Break
maybe
something here. Do you want breaking like something that I observed?
yeah,
You want breaking news? You want because I've never said this on any other interview.
let's do it.
Okay, all right. So let's wind the clocks back a couple of years, back to 2022. Okay. During Coachella, people made an observation that Rachel had hooked up with Sandoval or Tom. They didn't specify which one, right? So while I was, like that situation was going on, I was like, going out with her or whatever, you
Mhm.
know, making out, all that stuff. Apparently, she was already having the affair, the scandal with Tom, right? So that would have been pre-show. Now I pointed this out before. Like he texted me that, oh, but that night, the first night of filming, did you bang her or whatever? It showed that text message multiple times while this whole thing was happening. Well, one thing that a friend of mine pointed out was, look, if that was happening before filming, and then he's not going to send you a message if he's not banging, to use his parlance, right? He's not going to send you that message. Wouldn't it come to reason that his best friend in the whole wide world would know about
You would
it,
think.
right? So when I get to the Ziggy party that James DJ Kennedy, shout out to GJ James Kennedy, baby. I love that guy.
I like
He's
that.
great.
I've always been a James guy.
Yeah. So I get to that party, and what Tom Schwartz starts asking me is, how's everything going between you and Rachel? And that was on the show. Well, he knew in the back of his mind, Sandoval was happening. He would know because Tom Sandoval would have told him. And this is the first time I'm ever saying that in public. But see, here's the thing. It's probably going to go somewhere right now with this interview might go somewhere because of this little segment. Because I use my powers of observation to make an observation, and then, oh my God, Peter, Jesus. You see what I mean?
I do.
But
I
it
do.
stands to reason. It stands to reason that he knew about it and was asking me. So they were basically producing that whole scene, while they knew in the back of their mind, oh yeah, that's what's going on. Kind of making me look foolish. Yeah, that's another thing that doesn't I don't live down very well. Mm.
Look, it was pretty obvious there was something going on when there's the cover up,
Yeah.
then there's the throw up. Let me kiss her at the vacation just so we can throw people off the scent, right? And
Yeah.
and that actually leads me into a question I have. I tend to believe that some people on the show do get a bad rap. And I think some people have gotten a better positive rap than they deserve. Someone, you could tell me if you think I'm wrong. Someone who I think has gotten too negative of a rap over the years is Katie, frankly.
I agree.
I think Katie is a real
And I
person.
would be one of the first people to apologize because I was listening to Schwartz the entire time. But yeah, I love Katie. I saw her sandwich. I was in her sandwich shop the other day, and they like that sandwich was money. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I actually appreciated her this week announcing that she was in love on Schwartz's birthday.
I saw that. I saw that. That's funny.
A little bit of petty filtered in is always good.
It's a little petty, but why not? Right? Schwartz has already moved on. What like you have no connection at this point, buddy. So who cares? You see what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Who else would you say, if I'm saying Katie, who else would you say someone you think gets too negative of a rap from the show?
Sheena. Sheena's a good friend. To me, she is a good friend. So I think she gets too negative a rap. But I try to put a kibosh whenever someone says shit about Sheena. I'm like, hey, whoa, 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 that's my sister.
I think what people tend to forget about Sheena is that Sheena's like the first person we were ever introduced to back in the Housewives days, right? And then going forward right into the transition into the pilot, right?
Yep.
She's always kind of been on the outside. She's always been the expendable friend for those group of friends that tend to hate on each other, but always found themselves right back together. And somehow she might have been the emotional support friend for a year. And then as soon as they made up, she was back on the outs, right? And
yeah,
that's why I'm glad to see that she has a great, stable life. I think, people had opinions about Brock. For what I've seen and observed, seems like a good dad, right? I mean,
he is. I observed it.
See, powers of observation, right, man? As far as, we talk about the Scandival, all of that, would you say that, do you honestly believe there's a lot of conspiracy, the tinfoil hats come on, people say and claim that they think Ariana knew about it before, that she had an inkling, that she wanted it to be produced, that she wanted to, hey, make sure that this shows up while we're filming, save this while we're filming. Do you think there's any credence to that?
I don't think so. Like that's like, see, tinfoil hats, yeah, sometimes conspiracy theory is like, oh shit. But I mean, nah, I don't think so.
I agree.
That's 10 years of that's 10 years into a relationship. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a long time.
They had a cookbook.
Just for that, Huh?
I said they had a cookbook. They had the cocktail book.
Yeah, they had a cocktail book. It was great.
I like her new one actually better though. The breakup one was good. It's funny because that's one of the things my wife and I bonded over we were dating was like I had watched Vanderpump. I got her the Tom and Ariana cocktail book, like the first
When you were
Christmas we
dating,
were
you
together.
and you and her would talk about Vanderpump Rules.
Well, it was one of those things where she would say, "Oh, I'm watching whatever with my friends tonight." And one time said Vanderpump, and I was like, "Oh," and I dropped a few names, and it was like, "Wait, you know about Vanderpump?" I'm like, "Do I know about Vanderpump? Let's talk Vanderpump." And again, that was kind of an idea how the channel even came about because I'm like, there's so many other guys like me that are just sitting here eating it up, whether they're watching with their wives, girlfriends, or not. Like, took the lie detector test on most guys. They've seen it. They'll say they haven't, but they've seen it and they've watched
One of my
it.
favorite memories, one of my favorite memories, it was like early days of watching, of doing this show. I had an elder couple come in, right? And, it was, like grandparents' age, right? And the wife, she was all like, "I'm a fan, but he's a bigger fan." And she pointed to her husband. Her husband's like this. He's taller than me, and I'm 6'2", 6'3". He's like 6'5". That's NYPD.
Yep.
Who's a fan of Vanderpump Rules? I was all like, okay there. So I understand completely what you're saying. Yeah.
My dad was a contractor, carpenter, and I used to come
Hmm.
home and he would have below deck on or a Vanderpump
There you
on,
go.
housewives,
There you
right?
go.
So it doesn't matter if you're a construction worker or you're a hairdresser. There is the reality to it. And I think a lot of us, I grew up in the restaurant industry as well. I served,
Yeah.
did work catering, and that, early seasons really hooked us. And then I do think it's real in the respect of what happened when you gain some fame, right? And you gain that level of notoriety. How
Hmm.
would you adjust with that? Um, I do want to say, I want to circle back before we close out back to Reality Network. Would you ever consider doing something similar to Vanderpump?
Oh, absolutely.
Would
Yeah.
you want to get the restaurant vibe and see what's going on? Would you want to focus on their personal lives as well? Would you want to keep it more within the restaurant?
Both, because it works.
Does work.
Winning formula.
As far as Sir, are you still at Sir? Are you still
I
associated
am.
with
Yeah.
Sir in any way?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not
Still,
there tonight. I have a couple of events tonight. This is a Thursday. I usually am there on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But tonight and Sunday, I won't be there. But tomorrow night and Saturday night, I will.
are the goat cheese balls as good as Stassi has always said?
When in Rome, you got to have the goat cheese balls when you're at Sir. Oh, yeah. They're fantastic.
As far as the network things coming up, do you have anything new you like to plug? Anything premiering, or just I'd like to give people an idea of maybe what the schedule looks like and how can they access the network?
So go to realitynetwork.tv, all one word, realitynetwork.tv, and then you can download it on your, if you have a Roku device. We're on Roku right now. Soon we're going to be on Apple and Amazon, but for
Oh,
right now we're
great.
just on Roku. So if you have a Roku streaming device or a Roku television, you'll be able to download the channels Reality Network. You just type that in, and then you can watch all of our programming. Right now we're in I can't say what we're in contracts with, but we have a couple of we have a couple of contracts coming up, or a couple of shows that potentially will be on the network. One of them starring yours truly. So we'll see what happens with that.
Man, it's like you've done these interviews before. I was going to ask, when are we going to see Peter Madrigal back on the television?
Oh yeah, yeah. I know how to work on an interview. I've been doing this for a long time.
Who would be, here's one of the last few questions. Who would be the person from the Vanderpump world you would like to work with the most, and who would you like to work with the least?
I'm gonna go with Sheena, and of course I'm gonna go with Tom Sandoval. I'm not gonna work with him
Who's worse?
after all this.
Who's worse? Tom Sandoval or Jax Taylor?
Ooh.
I think I just got an answer. So safe to say, are you watching The Valley, even for a little hate watch?
Watch garbage. I'm sorry.
Dude, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's like they're just peppering it in. It's just bang,
Hey,
bang.
I'm not worried about a thing. I can hold my own, baby. Trust me.
I think if you don't have any skeletons in your closet, you don't have much to have to worry about, right?
I don't have any skeletons. I've never done anything wrong. And oh yeah, anyone has a problem with me? I'm there at Sir Thursday through Sunday, baby.
Has there ever been a time during these 12 years or so, give or take, that you've ever felt like, why am I maybe not getting the same opportunities as some of these wackos?
Um, I've created my own opportunity, so I don't get jealous of anybody. I just do my own thing. That's it, you know. So I've gotten some opportunities and they've been good opportunities.
I think it's a fair way to look at it. I think people can fairly say that you've kept your feet on the ground, my man. And I think
Yes, I
even
have.
in this conversation, you're coming off the same way that we've seen you on TV, spoken to other people from other shows, and that's not always the case. So I do really appreciate that. I do feel like as much as we can know Peter Madrigal, you've done a pretty good job of letting us in. Even again, some of your moments have been, like you said, sometimes like embarrassing, or you're getting played with
Oh
by some of
yeah.
the people. And
I have a bunch of embarrassing moments on the show. You know what I mean? And then, but who doesn't have embarrassing moments in their life? Come on, like
no.
no one's perfect.
If you could go back to young Peter Madrigal 12 years ago,
Ooh.
Vanderpump Rules manager, sir,
Mm.
what piece of advice would you give him for the journey he was about to go on?
Don't take any shit from anybody, and stop drinking as much.
Cheers to that, brother. I'm drinking coffee right now.
Yeah, I stopped drinking, man. So it's a different, and I'm in a different headspace. So, but I'd be telling him that, like, yeah, there's a few more things, but those would be my initial thoughts.
I
Don't
love that.
take any shit from anybody.
I think it's fair, man. You don't owe anybody anything other than honesty, and you're living your truth. And like I said, we really, as viewers, have appreciated that on the channel. We've always said it. We've been screaming. We want more Peter back. We know that I know there's some rumors of some things going on right now, possibly over at Sir and things. So won't go into anything like that. You know, we can wait. We can wait for hypotheticals to have another conversation. But like I said, before I close out, just let everyone else know again. I'll make sure to attach this on socials and I'll throw these
Yeah,
clips up on TikTok as well. But
perfect.
reality network, what do we need to know?
So you can follow me on Instagram, Peter_Madrigal. That's where I put all of my stuff. And then realitynetwork.tv is where you go to check out some of my all of my programming actually.
Cool.
And we got a few more shows coming up for the next year. Hopefully everything comes accordingly. And then by next year, we're gonna probably start off with some really cool original stuff, starring yours truly. But realitynetwork.tv, if you have a Roku TV, you'll be able to download the channel and check us out. We have some really good we have great, awesome programming.
Everybody, I'm going to make sure all the socials will be attached here in the video description. Like I said, we'll have it up on our TikTok, our Instagram as well. Also, look out. Brian and myself are going to start checking out some of your stuff. We'd love to start reviewing
Okay.
some of it as well. And
Oh, that'd be awesome.
we'll make sure we're
Let me
tagging.
know if you want anybody from the shows
Oh,
on
for
your
sure. I
yeah, to
appreciate that.
interview as well.
And when I come out to LA, need to get a little hookup in Sir, man. I need to get a nice
Hit
table.
me up.
I
Hit me
will,
up.
brother.
Thank
Peter,
you, Bill.
again, thank you. This has been an awesome bucket list item for me, getting to meet you. And like I said, hopefully, again, continued success. And like I said, we will definitely talk again in the future.
Excellent.
My
Love it.
man, thank you so much.
You're welcome.